those things. Let's move on to biggest. God, this is a terrible tee-up. Biggest loser from the wild card weekend, a shape of an L on their forehead. Guys that may have moved on even, but didn't play great. Peter, where do you take this
Peter, were you a big Biggest Loser fan on NBC? Caroline Ray, you tune into that?
Jillian Michaels.
Screaming at people on a treadmill.
What was his name? Dr. Bob or Dr.
Sounds right.
something? He was, yeah, that was right. I got to say, I hate recency bias. I know a lot of teams absolutely laid an egg, but, like, what the heck was that from Minnesota last year? And I think there's a trickle-down effect of this thing where it's like, all season we've been waiting for that pumpkin, and then, I don't know, did Aaron Glenn break Sam Darnold last week, and then Chris Shula just took care of business the rest of the way? What the heck was this? And we rave about our wide receivers. We go nuts. They are the faces of the league, and we did a Netflix show. I'm sorry, guys. When you pay a wide receiver that money, he can't carry you in the big games when the quarterback is getting assaulted like this by the defensive line. Justin Jefferson, a complete zero, a goose egg last night. Sam Darnold might have cost himself $20 million last night. And the conversation's begun. If you're Minnesota, are you even engaging in extending this guy's contract, or are you just letting him hit free agency? It is such a... I cannot remember an 8-day span that had gone worse for any team and any group of men in my time covering the league. This went from being potential number 1 seeds and hosting the playoffs throughout in Minneapolis with a bye to now we don't know about our quarterback moving forward. We are out of the playoffs, and our coach is going to win Coach of the Year and might have put together one of the most lackluster performances we've seen in the playoffs in recent times. I'm at a loss for words, and for that, they're my biggest losers of the weekend.
Yeah, for me, it's the entire NFC North. I think that's the one who is the biggest loser in this situation, because I think of course, the top 3 teams with the Detroit, minus Detroit, but you think of Vikings, you think of the Green Bay Packers.
So half the NFC North.
There was so much, half. We think about so much excitement was around the NFC North, but then you look at the type of game that the Green Bay Packers had against the Eagles. You get 3 interceptions out of Jordan Love. This was the division where everyone was like, yo, man, this team is stacked and loaded. And now we're sitting there in the divisional round, and we've got one team representing the NFC North right now, and it's the Detroit Lions. But the other 2 are one and done with the Vikings and the Green Bay Packers. I think that to me was the big upset. I was expecting so much more. It was a massive letdown. Especially from last night, and then the Packers, I thought that they were going to put up a bigger fight.
NFC, those 2 guys in the NFC North had a tough try, but, like, it's the Vikings. It's Sam Darnold. Peter, they didn't turn into a pumpkin. Like, they turned into a pumpkin patch, like the whole field, and you have to drive 2 hours to get there, and your kids complain. You have to pay a bunch of money and buy cider and donuts. And it was just unpleasant from start to finish, and you're just glad that it's finally over. Here's the way this last few days have gone.
Okay.
All right. Justin Herbert, lays the hugest egg ever. He's like, oh, man, this sucks.
Yep.
And Jordan Love's like, I got you. Hold on.
Yeah.
I got you. I'll pick you up, buddy. I'll take all the attention.
Yeah.
So Jordan Love plays terribly. He's just getting skewered. And then he's like, Sam Darnold's like, I got you, Jordan Love. I'll pick it up. I will take the baton. And here's the deal. Listen, if there's many places, if you want, just full knives out, just stabbing and carving Kevin O'Connell, calling Sam Darnold chokers and all that, there's programming for that. We try to stay positive. Yeah. We try. But you got to give us somewhere to go. And listen, let's say it right now. They drafted J.J. McCarthy. He's standing there on the sideline. Sam Darnold with the 2 of the worst performances you could ever see in the 2 biggest games you've ever played. And I just think it's like, all right, here's their quarterback situation. There's no possible way in hell you sign Sam Darnold to a big extension after that. You can't do it. There's no fan who wants that. You can't. If J.J. McCarthy is healthy and ready, it might just be your starting next year. Or maybe he's not ready and his knee's messed up, and you're like, maybe we tag Sam and do 1 year and he can be a little more of a mentor for J.J. It's possible, though, that was it, that was the last pass he's ever thrown as a Viking, and it was probably intercepted.
I watched the game with Vikings people last night. I sat with them.
How
What?
did they feel?
I'm Jamie, this is perfect that you're here, because we're struggling right now with our identity of a show versus, like, that was bleeping terrible, and we have to say it was terrible. That sucked.
Yeah.
So I want you to keep us warm, and I want you to try to keep us positive. Can you do it?
I can't, no.
Okay, good.
I mean, the people that I was sitting with last night, they work for the team. I think they were shocked by what happened, but not surprised, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
like, I think there was genuine shock that how could we have played that badly against the Detroit Lions and had this much time with this coach and this personnel and not figured it out? Yet it's January, it's the Vikings, not surprised. So somehow both of those things can exist. I would love to be the warm and fuzzy for you. Unfortunately, I actually think it made the quarterback decision easier come the offseason. And I know we'll take time to do this as it pertains to Sam Darnold, but like shock, but not surprised.
Peter, what do you got? I think Jamie makes a good point that if there's any positive, is that game maybe gave some clarity to the Vikings. I don't know.
I guess. I don't love living in that mirth and in that place because the Vikings teams of years past had nothing to do with this Vikings team. And Darnold won so many big games and did so with his arm, like that overtime drive against Chicago, the win in Arizona. You go to the Green Bay game where he hits Cam Akers. Like, these things did happen. And then he just completely went into a shell the last 2 weeks, and the offensive line couldn't protect him. And the coach, who I love, is running the ball and doing huddles when they're down 18 last night in the fourth quarter of a playoff game. They're running the ball. They're running the ball for 2 yards with Cam Akers. And I'm like, it was such a head scratcher. So, Jamie, I disagree. I was surprised because I thought they slayed those Dragons. And it's befuddling to me that they went out with such a whimper this season.
I was surprised against Detroit. I was not surprised last night. Like, yeah. I feel like Detroit. I don't think the Vikings could have beaten anybody last night. That looked like a broken team. They looked confused psychologically. Peter, at the end of the game stuff was bizarre. They had nothing, no urgency at all. It's like, can we just leave? Like, they were done. Yeah. I think.
They were in the huddle.
After Detroit.
They were in the huddle, like, 20 seconds. What play we call it? Handoff, 1 yard.
Yeah, and that's what happens when you get that type of pressure. You get that type of guys up front being able to harass your quarterback like that. But I think when I look at Sam Darnold, I feel like Sam Darnold is literally a prisoner of his past failures and those abilities. So I look at that bad game against Detroit, this game, and it's like we're done. But Peter, you made a good point in that. He did win you 14 games. That's not something that can be ignored, but it's only ignored because of his past.